Now, Hex, God, I hate Myst. I recognize it for the achievement it was when it came out, but I feel like since then, it's just been an excuse for people to make really boring games that feel meaningful, but they're actually not. I'm looking at you, dear Esther.
Yes, so how did you feel when you were told that we were going to be reviewing Obduction, which is made by Cyan Worlds, who made Myst?
I was ready to give it a paddle and Hex. Brought out the old one-star finger, just gonna poke it all over Obduction's boring body. And then I actually played the game.
So does that mean you're not going to give it a paddling?
Well, you're gonna have to wait till the end of the review for that, but it does mean I'm gonna need at least 3 more fingers.
It's all sounding a bit weird and sexy.
We have a healthy, thriving community here, as you can see. Our garden was planted years ago and has supplied plenty of food for many generations. I'm sure you have run across a number of folks already. Many were brought here, like you. And some actually were born here. We all feel we are part of the whole.
First up, I should mention that we are going to be talking about Obduction in quite vague terms. And that's because so much of the puzzles and the joy of this game come from these aha reveal moments. And to take those away from you would just be cruel. Damn cruel, I tell you.
Yeah, in fact, don't even watch this. Just go away, play the game, and then you can watch this later, and then you'll get to be that annoying person who does the half laugh and smug nod every time they recognize an obscure reference that no one else understands.
Like, not every rock is as it seems. But if you are sticking around, Obduction is a narrative first-person puzzle game that starts with confusion.
Almost like purposeful.
You don't know who you are, you don't know where you are, and you don't know how you got there. There's a voiceover telling you that many other people have been here before you, though, from all places and all times.
Light. That's where all of our new stories began. Streaked across the sky, mesmerizing, but unnerving.
But fairly soon, you'll discover a sign that says, "Welcome to Hunrath," a small mining town which appears to have hired Barjo to record its holographic messages.
This is the tree. It has been here in Hunrath for as long as anyone can remember.
But it appears something is amiss. It feels as though the town should be filled with people, but it's empty.
I get a real Bioshock feel here. You're in this beautiful town, but you begin to sense that something pretty terrible has happened here.
Worse than the full motion video?
How dare you talk about Barjo's work like that? But it becomes clear you're not going to learn much just standing around, so it's time to start pressing buttons and poking through the environment.
And this is almost all of what Obduction is. Oh, put those fingers away. Turning handles, activating switches, blowing up lasers, manipulating the world to be able to see more of it. And much like Myst,
Better than Myst.
once you start to understand how this world operates, you start to get more creative with how to solve puzzles that you didn't even realize were puzzles at first. And all of this with almost no guidance. You just start trying to mess with things until something actually lets you, and from there the whole game unfolds.
It's actually quite brilliant how many layers there are to everything in the world. Like that house you see when you first arrive, you can't get into it. And then later on you can. And then sort of 6 hours after that, you get into the house, but from a different way. And the only reason you didn't know you could get in from this way is because the first way you got in the house completely obscures that as even a possibility. And I know I'm just getting excited about how doors are used, but it's the way they use the doors, Hex. It's great door technology.
It is.
Thank you. And the game is filled with those moments of realization that almost everything in the world has multiple uses.
Yes, but in saying that, there is quite a bit of walking through the same areas you've already been looking for something new. There were times that I was wandering the whole map for 20 minutes, changing railway tracks to head into the right area. I'm okay with some backtracking, and the game does have a creative fast travel system that is in itself a puzzle. But the problem with these big environmental puzzles is, if you do something wrong, you can spend an hour of your life going back to fix it and everything you've done since. One point in particular springs to mind where I needed to shut off a fan, but because I did one thing wrong, I pretty much had to start the whole area again.
Was that to stop the big...
I'd prefer just not to talk about it.
The game's not bug-free either. It's laggy at times, and I got 2 total crashes to desktop. The save system is incredibly forgiving, so I barely lost any progress, but it's still annoying. But those moments aside, I just think there's so much creativity in Obduction. What you're seeing here is just scratching the surface. Oh no, don't look at that bit. That's a big spoiler.
Whoa!
It's just filled with those moments from all great puzzle games that not only make you feel smart and stupid at the same time, but make you marvel at the idea that someone came up with this whole thing in the first place. What did you think, Hex?
You know, I tend to go back and forth on big environmental puzzle games like this because I really think they're at their best when there's a really compelling story to pull you through. You know, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, for example, that was a really great mystery that hooked me from the start and gave me lots to do to kind of keep me going and sort of pushing me from point to point.
Where are you? I'll deal with your brother. Just go, now.
Or there was this other game I played, I forgot what it was called. I feel like it had a woman's name in it, but you're kind of put in front of a cabin, and when you go inside, there's all this weird occult stuff going on, and you're like, what happened here? And then you go upstairs, and there's like more freaky stuff on the walls. I mean, that is like really compelling, and I love uncovering that story.
It's sort of the condensed story stuff. Because I do think there's actually quite a bit of mystery here, and there's a lot, you know, it's got a lot of the journal reading and listening to tapes and that sort of thing that all video games have, but I think there's enough story, but I guess it is spread out over a much larger area. It's sort of, it could, depending on how good you are at the puzzles, it's anywhere between sort of 10 and 30 hours worth of game here. So you do get a piece of story and then it's puzzle, 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 or wonder, 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 train track for sort of 45 minutes before you get the next hook. So you need those hooks a bit faster.
Yeah, I feel like I just want every puzzle that I'm doing to kind of give me a little something at the end or constantly be driving the story forward.
Well, I feel like I should say something.
I just think the story needs to kind of take the front seat a little bit more.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I lose interest.
Well, power's on. Did you come back for a medal? Sorry, I don't mean to neglect my manners.
But the story of how the world works, that's what I liked. I'm giving it 2.5.
For me, I think the story of what happened at this town totally works, and I think it's because that informs the puzzles and vice versa. There was rarely a time where I felt, why am I doing this? Whatever I was doing was going to give me more understanding of what the hell happened to everyone, but also why I'm doing these puzzles in the first place. Obduction is what I love puzzle games to be, something confusing and foreign at the beginning, but when you start to chip away at it, you find your footing, and then pretty soon you know the world better than the designer. I was completely enthralled. I'm giving it 4 fingers.
No.
Just be careful. I've got to go. See you soon. And don't panic. As jarring as this experience is, you really will find Hunter out to be a decent place.